All right, folks, let's take a moment now and look at converting from milliwatts to decibels. I mean, this is likely, right? We have an injected power into the system and we're wanting to convert that into a decibel format. So the rules of 3 and 10 still apply as we look at adding or subtracting. Over on the decibel side, we are multiplying on the milliwatt side. So if we have a certain value of milliwatts, we can express that as an accumulation of multiples of 2 or of multiples of 10 or multiples of 0.5 or 0.1, and then convert that to additives of decibels in the relative way. So let's take a look at how that plays out. So here's an example, 40 milliwatts. Okay, so 40 milliwatts is the same thing as 10 milliwatts times 2 milliwatts times 2 milliwatts, right? So 10 times 2 times 2. And so we could then reverse that into the decibel additive values and say that's the same thing as 10 plus 3. Remember, on the decibel side, decibel, there's that 3 hiding in the decibel. Remember, the decibel is the 3 value. So what does that give us? 10 plus 10 is 20 plus 3 equals 23 decibels. Okay, that's our value here. Let's try bumping that up to 50. Okay, so 50 is a little tougher, isn't it? Because when we go to 50, we're going to have to say, all right, 50 milliwatts. So 10 times 2 is 20, times 2 is 40, times 2 is 80. Oh, man, I shot the moon. That's no good for me. Okay, so in this case, we say, what's another way that we can get to 50? Well, 10 times 10 is 100 times 0.5. Remember, that's another one. 0.1 and 0.5 are both tools that we can use in our arsenal to get to a particular value that we want. So 100 times 0.5 is going to be equal to 50. Okay, so that works. So every time we multiply by 10, we're going to add 10. So 10 plus 10 in terms of decibels, and then plus, I always think of everything as pluses, a negative 3. Remember, 0.5, negative 3. So it's on the negative decibel side. So that's 20 minus 3 is going to be equal to our 17 decibels. Okay, feeling pretty good? Let's try one more. Let's say I had, let's see, 1,600 milliwatts. What's that going to be? All right. Well, 10 times 10 times 10 is 1,000. Times 2 is 2,000. No, that's too big. Okay, break it down a little bit less than that then. 10 times 10 is 100. Times 2 is 200. Times 2 is 400. Times 2 is 800. Times 2 is 1,600. Hey, look at that. We found a value that works. So if we convert that back then, every time we do a 10, remember that is going to be adding a 10. Every time we multiply by 2, we're adding 3. So 4 2, so 4 3, so that's going to be 20 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 12, and that's going to be 32 decibels is going to be what is equal to our 1,600 milliwatts, or 1.6 watts, if it's written that way. So this is how we convert from milliwatts to decibels. Again, a little bit of creativity, sometimes required to get to the right values. Really helps to know your multiples of 2, your multiples of 10, combinations thereof, and look at opportunities to get to those values as necessary. So if I was dealing with 64 milliwatts, 64 milliwatts again. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, times 2 is 32, times 2 is 64. So 64 milliwatts is the same thing as, every one of those is just a straight add 3 each time. And so 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 3 is 9, plus 3 is 12, plus 3 is 15, plus 3 is 18 decibels. All right, gang. Happy math.